far as this game went, was there something different you guys were able to do after they hit a bunch of threes early to get back into the game? Was it better defensive pressure or just better following the game plan or what?
Yeah, our rotations were just off. We were a little too deep in help side and not moving on the air time of the ball. So they took advantage of that. We were worried about their inside looks just a little bit. But then as they were able to get out and get some kickouts, we need to move on the air time to get our rotations, and we had to adjust to that, which we did.
What, as far as offense, it seemed like there were some good sequences, and I guess at the same time, it just a lot of what's kind of hampered your team in the conference play this year, just not making enough shots.
Yeah, just not making enough shots. And I told Paige Club she's been knocking them down in practice, but it's more about not just Paige not hitting shots. She wasn't the only one. But I stayed with Paige. I stayed with Paige because her and Q get in the gym and they shoot. They work on their shooting, and it's about the other end of the floor, too. She wasn't making as many mistakes, and she was responsive. And I told our kids down this stretch, I'm playing kids that are invested. I'm playing kids that understand our game plan and are going to give me good energy. So that's why I kept some kids in the game that weren't knocking down shots. They were giving me something else.
How much did obviously you overcame Lanai's early foul trouble and got within 3 at the half, but how much did that take away from your offense in that stretch?
You know, it does take away from it, but we got to have next best action and stick to a game plan of what you saw us get some high-low looks, had some good interior passing in the first half, and we got to be next best action players, and we kind of get stuck on and frustrated with the fouls. And I told our kids before the game, I thought it was an evenly called game tonight, so the officiating didn't affect us at all. But sometimes we lose that continuity just because of what she's capable of doing. And I didn't want to play her through that because I knew we needed her down the stretch.
Obviously, you're going on the road for a stretch now and maybe not playing contenders this next swing through Indiana. What do you want to see from your team in terms of development and building on some of the good things you did playing the top teams to be able to come out of that stretch of a win or two when you play at Evansville and Indiana State?
I want them to know that everybody in this conference is a contender. And when they look at the scoreboard of some teams that just walked out of here, that some of those teams were about to just go play beat. Our kids will recognize that Missouri Valley is deep regardless of the score. Anybody that you talk to about Southern Illinois knows they have to walk in here and be prepared regardless of if we're a contender or not. So I don't think there's very many pretenders in our league. But what we have to do is lock in and follow our game plan. If we can put 70 points on the board against some of the more impressive, better defensive teams in our conference, and we're going to have to give that same kind of effort, and we're going to have to execute, and we're going to have to understand every possession matters. We can't just think, I dribble it off my foot because I make a casual cut and they get 2 steals off of it. I can get it back. You don't get those back. That's what separates games. And so I told our kids, their kids play just as many minutes, as our starters. And sometimes we got to tighten up our belt, and we got to gut check it and go.
Is that what you kind of tell them that, hey, Belmont does some of the same things too, but maybe they just do it a little more consistently for a longer period of time, and that's where they are in terms of, as a program and where you're trying to get to?
A little more consistency and a little more attention to detail. That to me, that's the difference. We forced them into 27 turn. I told our team, everybody knows how we're going to play. Everybody's going to applaud. They'll take their 30 to 25 turnovers that we're going to force. They're going to let us have 12 to 15 more possessions, but they're going to execute. And that's what it comes down to. They had probably at least 6 or 8 points off of easy buckets when we didn't communicate. And I think we had one of those tonight. So that's what I'm talking about, is staying locked in on a game plan and finishing.